Alright, this video is about miscarriage. I've had 3. It's not going to be emotional, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to be sharing what I wish I knew and what I've been through. So in case you're going through it too, you can see if it's something that you can do at home by yourself or whether you need to get help. All of my miscarriages were at or around 12 weeks, so I speak from that perspective. My first miscarriage was 6 years ago. Obviously it took me by surprise, like I think it does every woman the first time it happens. Yeah, because no one expects to have a miscarriage. My morning sickness disappeared around week 8, and I started having cramps, like cramp-like contractions, and I have to say the whole thing was just confusing, and I didn't really know what was happening, and you don't want to let yourself believe that it's happening when it starts. So then I started bleeding quite heavily, and my husband was with me obviously, and I called my midwife at the time, and she said if it's more than your menstrual period you should go to the hospital. And I was really surprised by that because it was a lot more than my menstrual period. So I kind of went into shock a little bit after that, and I did end up having to go to hospital, mostly because I went into shock. And there it was sort of forced upon me to have a D&C. I'll let you look that up, but it's not very pleasant, and I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. Yeah, so recovery for that one was kind of a little bit slow, maybe 2 weeks, and I was a bit sore. But the more unfortunate thing was, and I'm pretty sure this is not normal, is that I bled for about 3 months lightly, and I was on the verge of going to do something about it, but it eventually stopped. But I do believe that was from the D&C procedure, because it hasn't happened in any of my other miscarriages. So my second pregnancy was a success. We had our beautiful son, who's now 4 years old. It's worth noting though that I did have some light spotting during that pregnancy, so that's not always a cause for concern if that happens to you. A little bit of bleeding in some parts of pregnancy I think is normal. So that pregnancy went normal, everything was fine, and our son is healthy. My second miscarriage happened 2 years ago, and there's a good reason why people suggest that you wait until the 3-month mark before telling people that you're pregnant, because we had just told all our friends and family in the 12th week, which is around the 3-month mark, and I had a miscarriage in the 13th week, which was kind of awful. Mostly because having to tell everyone, like you just told them great news and you're so stoked to share it finally with everyone, and then to have to go and tell everyone, no, I had a miscarriage. I found that mostly annoying, to be honest, but yeah, that's the reason why people wait before sharing the news. But since I had had one before, we decided to wait it out at home, because we sort of knew roughly what to expect from the first one, but we kept a close eye on things. And I had a new midwife, and she said that if you fill more than 1 pad an hour, that you need to go to the A&E in case of hemorrhage, which was much better advice than the previous advice I got from my first midwife. At the height of it on the first day, it's definitely, for me, it was more than a pad an hour. I had to sit on a towel. It's a lot. And yeah, it's really hard because you look up online like how much is to be expected, and there's really not that much good information that I could find about how much blood is in the range of normal for a miscarriage. So, but I would describe it as a lot. So, yeah. A few days after I had that miscarriage, I had I ended up going to the hospital and getting a scan, which I highly recommend doing, especially if you're staying at home, just to make sure that everything's passed naturally, and it's just a good feeling to go and get everything checked out. So my third miscarriage was just recently. It was in week 11, so I had a little bit of blood, but I wasn't too concerned, and just I try not to invest in worry really in my pregnancies, just because it's hard enough being pregnant as it is, and then on top of that trying to worry about whether you are going to lose it or not is I don't know, I don't find it that helpful, so I just try not to worry at all really. I know it's a little bit hard not to, but I do my best to just not really let it into my mind. So I didn't actually have any fear of miscarriage, and we chatted happily to our son about his expectant sibling and stuff. Once I knew it had started, it was awful, as it always is, and my husband came straight home from work, and we decided to write it out together at home. Luckily my midwife was able to get me an appointment to get a scan, so I actually went on the day of the miscarriage to make sure everything had passed. And I would say this miscarriage was actually more blood than my other ones, simply because I think the baby was further along than the previous two. Yeah, but it still feels good going to get everything checked out. The recovery for this one has also felt a bit slow. Maybe it's because it's winter time or I'm a little bit older now, but I've felt pretty washed out and tired and stuff. And I've been taking just lots of rest and some iron and some supplements to help me sort of bounce back. So I wanted to talk a little bit about mourning. And I think it's really a different process for everyone. It looks different for everyone. For me, I have sort of experienced always experience like just a numbness at the beginning, and then an awful wave of grief comes. And I just try to ride it out as best I can and try not to stay there in that space, because it's just too hard to stay there. But yeah, I sort of, some of the emotions that I went through were like numbness, sadness, anger, shame, guilt, embarrassment, and then, acceptance eventually. So having really strong support helps a lot. The day after my miscarriage, my friend just came and was with me for the day. She just came and was with me, and that was amazing. We didn't really even talk about it. We just, she was just there. It was really good. But if you don't have a lot of family or familial support, there's lots of online forums like Reddit where you can go and vent without judgment. They're interesting to read to see what other people are going through, and miscarriages surprisingly common. Yeah, so it's good to keep in the back of your mind, even though you're the one who lost the baby, that everyone in your family has experienced a loss, so everyone's going to be reacting to it maybe slightly differently. One thing that's really helped us, and we've done it twice, is having a little burial. It's just sort of a ceremony which helps you close the chapter, and I found that really helpful when we've done it. And it's also, it's just a nice thing to do together as a family to help everyone try to start to move on. And one thing that's really helped me is just a belief that, God maybe needed an angel, and so needed them more than me. So that's helped me try to find acceptance. What's that saying? If there's no rain, then there's no rainbows. Each loss that we've gone through as a family has made me more grateful for my son, and just, so grateful that I could have a son. And if you're going through the same thing, I wish you peace, and that you hope that you have lots of support. And I'm Kay, and thanks so much for listening. I'll see you in the next video.